Imagine stepping into a world where students clean their classrooms, romantic relationships are strictly forbidden, and even the color of your underwear is regulated. Welcome to the fascinating yet rigid realm of Japanese schools. Behind the country's reputation for academic excellence lies a system of discipline and tradition that might leave outsiders astounded. These rules aren't just about education. They reflect the essence of Japan's cultural values. Today, we'll dive deep into 23 of the most surprising school rules in Japan, uncovering the logic and controversy behind each. Buckle up for a journey through a system designed to shape not just students, but responsible citizens of tomorrow. 15. Strict punctuality. Never be late. Japanese schools demand nothing less than absolute punctuality, and this expectation shapes the very character of students. All students must arrive by 8:30 a.m., and this isn't just a guideline. It's a rule strictly enforced. Being late doesn't just result in a tardy mark. Repeat offenders often face disciplinary actions such as cleaning duties or staying back to reflect on their actions. This emphasis on punctuality extends beyond arrival time. Throughout the day, students are expected to adhere to a meticulously planned schedule. Whether it's transitioning between classes or lunchtime, every activity has its time slot, and delays are unacceptable. The reasoning behind this rule is cultural as much as it is educational. Punctuality is seen as a virtue in Japanese society, a sign of respect for others and a commitment to one's responsibilities. By enforcing this habit from a young age, schools aim to cultivate adults who value time management and reliability. 14. No substitute teachers. Self-study when teachers are absent. Unlike many other countries, Japanese schools don't rely on substitute teachers to fill in when a teacher is absent. Instead, students are expected to manage their time and continue their studies independently. While this may sound chaotic, it's an intentional strategy to foster self-reliance and responsibility. When a teacher is unavailable, lessons don't grind to a halt. Instead, students are often provided with preset assignments or encouraged to revise previous material. Class leaders play an active role in maintaining discipline and ensuring that the session remains productive. This rule reflects Japan's belief in the importance of independent learning. By taking ownership of their education, students develop a sense of accountability that serves them well in both academic and personal spheres. Critics, however, argue that the lack of adult supervision during these periods can sometimes lead to inefficiencies, especially in younger classes. 13. Teachers cannot expel students from class. In Japan, teachers are not allowed to send misbehaving students out of the classroom. This rule is rooted in the belief that education is a universal right and that every student, regardless of behavior, deserves access to learning. Instead of resorting to expulsion, teachers employ creative and patient methods to manage disruptions. Techniques such as peer mediation, personalized counseling, and collaborative activities are often used to address behavioral issues. Teachers also work closely with parents and guardians to ensure a consistent approach at home and school. While this rule promotes inclusivity and ensures that no child is left behind, it can be challenging for educators. Managing a disruptive student while maintaining the flow of the lesson requires exceptional skills and resilience. However, proponents argue that this approach fosters a culture of understanding and reinforces the idea that mistakes are opportunities for growth. 12. Napping in class is acceptable. In most countries, dozing off in class would earn you a stern rebuke. But in Japan, it's often overlooked or even subtly encouraged. The cultural view on napping or inamuri is that it signifies diligence. Students who fall asleep in class are often seen as victims of their rigorous schedules, balancing school, homework, and extracurricular activities. This practice reflects the demanding nature of Japanese education. Many students attend juku or cram schools late into the evening to prepare for entrance exams. As a result, exhaustion is common, and napping in class is considered a natural consequence. While teachers don't encourage it outright, they understand the pressure students face and are generally lenient. However, some argue that allowing napping can hinder active participation and engagement, raising questions about whether this cultural norm truly benefits students in the long run. 11. Students are not held back a grade. In Japan, the concept of repeating a grade is nearly unheard of. Regardless of academic performance, students progress to the next level alongside their peers. This rule aims to foster a sense of community and inclusivity, ensuring that no student feels ostracized for falling behind. Grades, however, play a crucial role when it comes to high school and university entrance exams. These pivotal assessments determine a student's academic future, making them a focal point of the education system. Critics of this policy argue that promoting students without addressing academic gaps can lead to challenges later. Proponents, on the other hand, believe it alleviates the social stigma associated with repeating a grade and encourages students to focus on long-term improvement rather than short-term setbacks. 10. Yellow hats for young students. Safety is paramount in Japan, and this is especially true for elementary school students. To ensure their visibility to drivers and pedestrians, young students are required to wear bright yellow hats during their commute. This simple yet effective rule significantly reduces the risk of accidents, particularly in busy urban areas. The hats are part of a broader culture of safety that extends to school life. Children are taught road safety rules from a young age and are often accompanied by older students or community volunteers on their way to and from school. This practice not only safeguards children but also fosters a sense of responsibility among the community. The sight of young students in their distinctive yellow hats is a reminder of the collective effort required to create a safe environment for the next generation. 9 students clean the school. Japanese schools take a unique approach to maintaining cleanliness. Students themselves are responsible for cleaning their classrooms, hallways, and even restrooms. Known as osoji, this practice is a daily routine that instills discipline and respect for shared spaces. Cleaning duties are divided among students, and tasks are rotated to ensure fairness. From sweeping floors to wiping down desks, every student plays a role in keeping the school spotless. Teachers also participate, fostering a sense of equality and teamwork. This rule reflects the Japanese philosophy of matanai, which emphasizes avoiding waste and taking care of one's environment. By involving students in these tasks, schools aim to teach them the value of hard work and the importance of contributing to the community. 8. Uniforms are mandatory. Uniforms are a hallmark of Japanese schools, reflecting discipline and equality. Students are required to wear specific uniforms, usually consisting of blazers, white shirts, and skirts or trousers. For middle and high schools, iconic sailor-style uniforms and military-inspired designs dominate. This rule ensures that students focus on academics without distractions from personal fashion choices. Uniforms also symbolize unity, bridging economic disparities among students. Everyone, regardless of their background, looks the same, fostering a sense of camaraderie. However, uniforms come with strict guidelines. Accessories, hairstyles, and even shoe types are regulated. Some schools go as far as specifying the length of skirts or banning certain shades of socks. While critics argue that these rules suppress individuality, proponents believe they prepare students for Japan's conformity-driven workplace culture. Uniforms remain a tangible representation of the discipline and tradition ingrained in Japanese society. 7. No romantic relationships allowed. Love may make the world go round, but in Japanese schools it's strictly off-limits. Many schools prohibit romantic relationships among students, viewing them as a potential distraction from academics. This rule is particularly common in middle and high schools, where the focus is on preparing students for entrance exams and future careers. The rationale behind this rule is rooted in Japan's highly competitive education system. Teachers and administrators believe that romance could divert attention from studies, sports, and extracurricular activities. However, this rule is not without controversy. Critics argue that suppressing natural emotions can lead to stress and hinder social development. Some students find creative ways to maintain relationships discreetly, balancing their personal lives with academic expectations. Despite its divisive nature, this rule underscores the rigid discipline characteristic of Japanese schools and their emphasis on academic success above all else. 6. Hairstyle restrictions. Natural colors only. One of the more controversial rules in Japanese schools pertains to hair. Students must maintain natural hair colors, with any dyed or chemically treated hair being strictly forbidden. In some cases, students with naturally lighter hair colors, such as brown, are required to prove its authenticity to avoid accusations of violating the rules. This regulation aims to minimize distractions and maintain uniformity among students. Schools believe that enforcing natural hairstyles fosters discipline and ensures that the focus remains on education rather than personal appearance. The rule, however, has sparked significant debates. Critics argue that such restrictions infringe on students' individuality and can lead to unnecessary scrutiny. Cases of students being asked to dye their natural brown hair black have garnered widespread attention, highlighting the rigid nature of these policies. Despite its challenges, this rule exemplifies the Japanese school system's commitment to order and discipline. 5. No earrings or accessories. Accessories like earrings, bracelets, and necklaces are strictly prohibited in Japanese schools. This rule is part of a broader emphasis on simplicity and uniformity. By banning accessories, schools aim to create an environment free from social hierarchies based on material possessions. The rule applies universally, regardless of whether the accessory is for fashion, sentimental reasons, or cultural identity. Even subtle items, like clear studs, are often disallowed. Teachers enforce these rules through regular inspections, and violators may face warnings or additional duties. While this approach minimizes peer pressure and distractions, it has been criticized for being overly restrictive. Some argue that it suppresses self-expression and fails to accommodate cultural diversity, especially for students from international or mixed backgrounds. Despite these concerns, the no accessory rule remains a cornerstone of Japan's disciplined and focused school environment. 4. No eating while walking. In Japan, eating while walking or commuting to school is considered impolite and is therefore prohibited. This rule is instilled in students from an early age and reflects broader societal norms about etiquette and mindfulness. Students are expected to consume their meals in designated areas, such as the school cafeteria or classroom during lunchtime. This practice ensures cleanliness and promotes mindful eating, a value deeply ingrained in Japanese culture. Breaking this rule is frowned upon, as it can disrupt public order and tarnish the school's reputation. By adhering to this regulation, students learn the importance of respecting shared spaces and the people around them. While some might view this as overly strict, many argue that it fosters a sense of discipline and responsibility. The rule underscores the cultural emphasis on harmony and respect that defines Japanese society. 3. No part-time jobs without permission. While high school students in many countries juggle academics with part-time jobs, Japanese students must seek school approval before taking on any employment. This rule ensures that work doesn't interfere with their primary responsibility: education. Part-time jobs are generally discouraged, especially for younger students, to prevent them from becoming overburdened. Schools that do permit jobs typically impose strict conditions, such as limited working hours and approval from both parents and teachers. The reasoning behind this rule is tied to Japan's rigorous academic culture. With long school hours and additional cram schools, balancing a job is seen as counterproductive. However, some argue that part-time work can teach valuable life skills, like time management and financial independence. Despite differing opinions, the rule highlights the Japanese school system's prioritization of academic excellence over economic activity during a student's formative years. 2 students must stand and bow at the start and end of each class. At the beginning and end of every lesson, Japanese students stand, bow, and greet their teacher in unison. This practice, rooted in Japan's deep respect for authority and education, sets the tone for discipline and mutual respect. The bow is more than a formality. It's a cultural ritual that signifies gratitude for the teacher's efforts and the opportunity to learn. Teachers also bow in return, fostering a sense of equality and shared purpose. This rule reflects the broader Japanese value of rei, or respect, which permeates every aspect of society. It teaches students to acknowledge authority while cultivating a sense of humility. While some may view this as rigid, others admire the practice for instilling discipline and respect from an early age. It's a simple yet profound tradition that underscores the cultural foundation of Japan's education system. 1. School lunches are mandatory and must be finished. In Japanese schools, lunch is not just a meal. It's an educational experience. Students are required to eat the school-provided lunch, which is meticulously balanced for nutrition. Every meal is prepared with input from nutritionists, ensuring that students receive a wholesome diet. What makes this rule unique is the expectation that students must finish their meal entirely. This policy instills gratitude and discourages wastefulness, aligning with the cultural philosophy of matanai. Lunch is often served in classrooms, with students taking turns acting as servers. This system teaches responsibility and teamwork. Teachers also eat with students, fostering a sense of community and equality. While the rule promotes healthy eating habits, it has faced criticism for not accommodating picky eaters or dietary restrictions. However, most agree that it's a valuable tradition that nourishes both body and mind.